were the place to learn, reflect, and grow, to nurture your inner wisdom and creativity, and to always have a place to call home. Building and enforcing boundaries is not something that is taught or thought highly of in our society. The line between manipulation and influence is razor sharp, and for many, they simply do not have the strength to speak, act, and live in their own best interest. I feel today's episode is a step towards personal sovereignty. It's a way forward. Whew. So the other day, I was at a coffee shop writing, and I don't even know how this came to be, but this castle walls metaphor was just there, right? This visual of the value of strong boundaries, of castle walls, of a place for me to retreat to learn, develop, grow, barriers, guardrails for me to stay on my path, on my lane, moving closer to my vision, a place to for my soul to have sacredness and safety, and a place of inner freedom and liberation. And so I wrote this poem, and this is where we're going to start today. I'm going to read this poem, then I'm going to share some, I think, really relevant, useful things about boundaries, a life without boundaries, rather. What happens, and then what does it lead to, right? And maybe you can resonate with some of these things and start to unpack them for yourself and start to make some changes in your life. And there'll be some reflection questions, as always, that I want you to be ready to answer. So make sure you have your journal or wherever you take notes handy towards the end of this. But I'm going to start with the poem, and I really just want you to, I recommend closing your eyes for this and just really feeling into this. There's a lot of depth, and obviously all of my episodes recently have started with a poem or started with a deeper awareness about a very important, simple, yet powerful topic or component of what makes, in my opinion, a really strong man, a really strong person, a really strong leader, a really strong legend. And there isn't a legend I know that doesn't have very strong boundaries. There isn't a legend that I know that won't let you know when you cross over the line. And there's so much power in that, being able to enforce, this is the line. This is the line right here. I don't go any further than this. This is where I stop, right? That self-control right there is power, your power. Here we go. Castle walls. Inside my castle lies my soul, my spirit, my life, my true home. The walls that surround me are thick and strong, the moat a river, the tower tall. I protect myself because no one will. My power within me, a phoenix lying still. In a world such as ours, boundaries are needed. There is nothing more beautiful than life unimpeded. Keep danger out, and when it comes too close, call to arms and use love as the arrows. A gentle touch, a graceful light. My boundaries are strong and will last the night. I will not venture out from my castle looking for war. I already have what I am looking for. I already have what I am looking for. I already have what I am looking for. Take a moment right here. What comes up for you? I just want you to answer that question. What resonates with me in that poem when it comes to my personal boundaries in my life, maybe personally or professionally? What comes up for me? So much of this podcast is an opportunity for you to reflect. It's an opportunity for you to ask yourself questions. It's an opportunity for you to learn new things about yourself. This is an opportunity to do that right here, right now. So I just want you to ask yourself, what from this poem resonates with me? Nothing may resonate with you. That's fine. But what does? Because when we think about a life without boundaries, right? Without boundaries, and these are things that I've experienced and I have seen and I have studied in my clients and I have observed in people, is that a life without boundaries leaves you vulnerable to the world. trapped on the plains of confusion, right? The plains of confusion. It's so important to note that almost everyone that you know is confused. Maybe everyone really is confused. They have absolutely no idea. If you really ask them, like you actually sit them down, no booze, no drugs, no need to manipulate their consciousness, and you ask them, do you have a clue what you're doing in your life, where you're going, why you're doing what you're doing? The majority of people, if you really press them, will not be able to answer that question. Right? They live on the plains of confusion. And on the plains of confusion, you can imagine just a flat, open plain. Right? Plains of confusion. On the plains of confusion, everyone is running every which way towards whatever they believe, consciously or unconsciously, is the right path for them. It may or may not be, but they're running. And if you don't have strong boundaries, if you don't have a place, an inner sanctum, a stronghold, a place where you get to develop yourself, you're vulnerable to this. You're vulnerable to confusion. You're going to follow suit, and you've done it before, and you probably still do it now. When you don't have those boundaries, you're vulnerable. You're easily manipulated and influenced by others. Right? Easily manipulated and influenced by others because you don't know where your line is. You haven't distinguished, this is a line I will never cross no matter what. I'm not going to do this thing. This isn't me. This isn't my path. This isn't my way. This isn't where I want to go with my life. By talking to you and communicating to you about this topic, I feel like I'm crossing my boundary. This is not cool for me. The way you're speaking to me, what you're wanting me to do right now, what you just asked of me is not okay with me. It's crossing my boundary. I'm not going to do that. So don't ask me again. And I can just feel the energy I speak with when I feel like my boundaries are being crossed. It's extremely powerful energy. Right? This is your shield. Your boundaries are your shield. And I think people don't understand. They think, this is actually really incredible right here. People think that a shield is like just a protective outer shell. No. In combat, a shield is an object, an item that you use for attack and defense. You can hit someone with a shield, right? You can block someone's attack, right? It's a way for you to redirect energy and force. That's what I want you to remember here. A shield is something you use to redirect energy and force, right? It's a place of your power, right? It's a place of your power. Right? So when you don't have boundaries, you're easily manipulated and influenced. I just want you to think about sometimes that you may even be being manipulated and influenced right now. We're going to go into personal and professional boundaries because you may have different ones. They may be more similar than you give credit for, but we may not go all the way in that direction today. But just want you to see and observe that. Right? In a life without boundaries, without a home, without a place of refuge or a retreat to fall back on, you can get lost, man. You can get lost real quick. You don't know where you belong. You don't know what you stand for. You don't know what hill is worth dying on. And there's a lot of power in knowing what hill is worth dying on. There's a lot of power in knowing what you want to commit your life to. There's a lot of power in feeling the way, the path, the journey that you're on is true in your heart. Right? And it's so fascinating to me as we have this conversation right here, how much boundaries and your purpose, your path, your life are fully integrated. If you don't have boundaries, you're lost. You will do things that burn your soul. You will think about doing things that put you in an inner purgatory, in between, not sure. You will confuse yourself. That's why it's so important to understand that having these castle walls, having boundaries, is an opportunity for you to actually create more peace in your life. It's actually an opportunity for you to be more present. It's an opportunity for you to embrace more of your power. Because if you can continue to be present with how you're feeling when someone is coming to you with their energy and with what their desires are and who they are and trying to influence you or manipulate you or get you to whatever insert word, you get to feel how that feels. And if you feel like it's crossing a boundary, you get to respond. You get to show yourself, the world, the universe, what it is you stand for. And what does that give you? And you guys love this one. This is your favorite thing. Some of you have it, some of you want it so badly, but all great men command it. And that's respect. If you want respect, you need boundaries. You need to let people know what's good. Personally and professionally. And this is big. Personally and professionally. Doesn't matter if you piss people off. It doesn't matter if they get upset. It doesn't matter if you stop people pleasing. If you start changing your character. You get respect. And it's better to have people not like you or hate you because you're real to yourself, and a few people who love you and respect you because you're real, than nobody trust you because you aren't. Because you can't be. Because you don't have boundaries. You don't know where you stand. There's no solid ground. Without boundaries, there's no place to reflect, learn, and grow. Right? When someone comes to me and is approaching my boundaries and says something that I feel like is crossing them, it's an opportunity for me to embrace that conflict and handle it in a way that is in alignment with who I am and what I'm feeling in the moment. So someone comes up to me, or someone tries to get me to do something that I don't want to do, I can let them know, no thanks, I'm not interested in that at all. And then later, because of that, I created that boundary, I get to reflect on myself. Graham, how does that feel that you said that in that way? Oh, I'm starting to feel like maybe I was a little harsh. Oh, I was harsh. Okay, was I harsh or was I just honest? I was honest. Did I deliver it with kindness and compassion to the best of my ability? Okay, cool. Right? We're creating space. I said it this week. If you want peace, you need space. Right? And you can't find that on the plains of confusion. Right? The boundaryless. The boundaryless. That's the majority of humans. No boundaries. People just scrubbaging about. Right? So what does a life without boundaries lead to? This is the first one. This is the biggest one. And oh man, that's so deep. Getting involved with the wrong people and the wrong path. The wrong people and the wrong path. Without boundaries, you are going down all kinds of crazy alleys. Shit, you have no idea where you're headed. You're just following the crowd. You're just following the flow. You're just following the most powerful energy in the room. The energy that wants something. Desire. You know what's more powerful than desire? Boundaries. Power. Me, with conviction. Knowing what I desire. Knowing how I am. Feeling into how I feel. Without boundaries, right? Being led to, getting involved with the wrong people and the wrong visions, feeling off because there's no sense of deeper self-direction, right? The boundaries that you build keep you on your path, keep you on your path. It's like the bumpers in a bowling alley. Your boundaries keep you on the path, keep you moving in the direction of your heart. Keep you honest and real with yourself. Leads to people pleasing. And that leads to resentment and anger. And so many of you, so many, resent the fuck out of people in your life. You might not admit it. You might not want to believe it, but you do. It might not be permanent, but there have been moments where you feel like you've been oppressed. Your boundaries have been crossed. And because you didn't have the strength to speak up, or you didn't want to ruffle feathers, or you didn't want to, or you were afraid of the outcome, you ate it. And you keep eating it. And it keeps eating you. And that leads to resentment and anger towards yourself for allowing the trespasses against you. Yes, you allow it. You do. You do. You can't escape that one. People are getting you to do what they want you to do. You don't want to do it. You're letting them. You're letting them. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with that truth if you're going to let it go. Right? That's the big thing about letting go is you have to accept the truth first. And the truth is that most of you are afraid and you're scared and you're not sure what will happen if you go against, if you enforce. If you enforce. Oh my gosh, it's so deep. If you enforce, if you wield your own power, what will happen? If your boss or your manager sees you wielding your power against them, what are they going to do? When you say, no, I'm not going to do that. You say, no, that's not fair. I'm not doing that. No way. I always do this. What are they going to say? When you make a decision that's best for you. Whew. Oh man. Shit. See, the thing about men that I continue to notice is that they want so badly to be respected. And a lot of times they think that the way to get respect is to bend the knee. But that's not the way to get respect. The way to get respect is to shake hands and disagree. Is to find the common ground. Is to be okay with bending the knee, but not with living life that way. When you know your boundaries, you know what's what in your life. And you feel more confident to enforce yourself when the moment arises. To wield your power when the moment calls. To rise a phoenix when the fire burns. People pleasing, resentment, and anger. You catch yourself doing it? You find yourself there? If you're there right now, that's okay. You can get out of it. Especially so many of you lions. There's so many lions out there that are just, caged up. Caged up lions. Nice tame lions. Good lions. No wonder you're missing something. You're missing the hunt. You're missing that feeling of knowing that you could run down anything you want. Not that you have to, knowing that you can. And for a man who values freedom, it's important. What are you willing to give up to people please? A life without boundaries leads to guilt. Wearing the masks that keep you in the good graces of our culture can feel guilty. Fuck. I know I'm not being true to myself. I know I'm not being real. Man, this has been so common recently. So many of the men I get to work with in my practice come in wearing so many masks, and I give them so much credit because it's so hard to take them off in general. To take them off with me, someone that they don't always know 100% or they know of from a friend, is so hard. And I have a lot of empathy for that journey. With that said, they have to come off if you're going to feel free. They have to come off if you're going to feel power. They have to come off if you're going to enforce boundaries. You don't have to take them off at once, but they must come off. There must be a way. There must be part of you inside that feels like I can be myself, dude. Like I know I can. I know this isn't me. I know this isn't me. Shit, this is absolutely not freaking me. What am I doing? Have you been there before? What am I doing? How the fuck did I get here? Like, what the fuck happened to me? Right? Do something about it. Take off the mask. Start there. Start with one boundary to enforce. Let go of the guilt. Of course you feel guilty. You know that you're letting yourself down. You're not being real. I mean, that's always going to feel guilty. You're betraying yourself. Wow, that's what guilt is. Guilt is self-betrayal. Self-betrayal. Sit with that one. It's deep. A life without boundaries leads to, and this is the thing that I see unanimously for men, not being respected. You're not going to be respected if you don't have boundaries and you don't enforce them. You're not going to be respected. And you want to be respected. You don't want to be feared. necessarily. I don't personally really care about that. I just want, I don't know, I just feel into the moment. If someone's getting too close to me or doing something, get away, man. Beat it. Enforce my boundaries. If someone wants me to do something, or someone's like trying to haggle me in a certain way, or put me in a certain position, or oppress me in a way that I don't fit. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something. We're going to do this instead. Right? You're not going to get respect if you don't have boundaries. A man without a castle walls is no king. A man without a castle is no king. Boundaries. Right? Boundaries also create space for other people to feel safe within the walls of your energy. Right? For some of you, entrepreneurs, business people, if you're building a family, if you don't have strong boundaries, how is anyone in your life going to feel safe with you? How are they going to trust you? Right? And for men, what they desire is respect, and they want the trust of others. Right? Because the trust of others brings them things that they would never get themselves. People bring them things. They want them in their life. They want to give. They want you a part. If you don't have boundaries, then you're not going to be safe. You're not going to do that. I'm not going to trust you. That's going to feel horrible. A man that can't create safety and can't earn respect is a man that's walking through life on the plains of confusion. And we got a lot of confused men out there right now. And I understand why. We're not speaking about these things. These are core king archetypal values. Values, character traits, attributes. These are core king archetypal attributes. If you're not embodying these, of course you're going to feel off. Because there's a king in you, man. There's a free, powerful, beautiful man in you. He's not going to come out if you don't have the courage to enforce your boundaries. Let people know what's up. Without boundaries, I am not building personal trust. Without knowing where to enforce your boundaries, you're not practicing conflict resolution and you're not embodying courage. It's okay to have conflict with people, guys. It's okay to have a disagreement. It's okay to tell someone the truth. It's okay to tell someone off. It's okay to do all the things that feel natural. Those are normal. They're natural. You can reflect on them later. But it's important to note that in the moment, when the boundaries, when the castle walls, when you want to pull up the drawbridge, usually, most of the time, it's probably a good idea to do so. And the worst thing that happens is you have space and time to reflect. But you're never going to build personal trust if you don't try to put up the boundary, raise the wall, have a disagreement, have the tough conversation, be real, be honest in the moment of truth, in the moment where courage is required. You're not going to build confidence if you don't do that. Right? A life without boundaries leads to mistrusting, right? And the misplacing of your personal power. There's nowhere to store it. Right? A phoenix lying still versus a phoenix rising. It needs to be a call to ignite the inner flame of your belief, of your trust, of your mission, of your vision, of your kingdom, of your truth, of your life, of your light. There has to be a call. Every single time you embrace conflict, you get to test it against what you believe. You get to build confidence and conviction. These are the battles that you're facing every day. And for a lot of you, you're just allowing yourself to be rolled over. Rolled over. It's a courage thing. It's a boundaries thing. For me personally, in the days and years where I had zero boundaries, I would constantly find myself wishing I hadn't done what I had just done. I wish I had not just done that. Fuck. I wish I had not just done that thing I just did. Oh my gosh, here we go again. I know exactly what's going to happen next. I would constantly find myself in the same cycles, the same loops. I talked about loops this last week on Instagram. Same loops, same loops, same loops. Why? Because on the plains of confusion, you're going to come across similar people trying to do similar crazy things, going in similar insane directions. They're directionless. So if you have directionless people that are leading you or influencing you or manipulating you, you are also directionless. This is why I'm so passionate about having a vision, about getting to know yourself, about seeing into your own soul, what you want to create. Because if you don't know that, you are susceptible and vulnerable to the entire world. And I promise you, someone with a strong energy and a strong ass desire who has the right words to say to you will convince you to do something that isn't you. And then you will build anger and resentment towards yourself. You'll experience guilt and shame. You'll end up hating yourself. And you'll live your life with masks. It won't feel good. You might make it happen. You might get by. You might have success, but you won't have that deeper sense of peace, that deeper sense of freedom, that embodied sense of power. No, those things you won't all have. And you can have them. They're obtainable. Without boundaries, I personally, like I said, I've experienced these things and notice I continue to do so when I am not clear, firm, and trusting in myself. There's a reason lords built castles in the Middle Ages, peeps. It's for the protection. No one was going to protect them from others. It was up to them to create something of their own for themselves. And it's up to you to do it for here and now. Right? And let me ask you this. Do you know what happened in the Middle Ages when towns would come under siege? All the villagers would run to the castle. Everyone gets protection from the king in the moment where a boundary needs to be enforced. For example, you might burn our town, but you're not going to take us, our people, our culture, our way. We're going to stay true to ourselves. We're going to hold up. That's an entirely deep conversation beyond that is not really relevant. But the idea of it, of a castle, of boundaries, of walls, is still there. And it repeats itself over time. So look at history. Look at what's happening. Look at yourself. Right? Here are some questions to help you get more clear. Personally, do you have strong boundaries in place in your personal life with friends and family? Do you have strong boundaries in place in your personal life with your friends and family? Do your friends tell you what you're going to do all the time and you just go along with it? Do your friends do they knock you? Do they really have your best interest, or do they just play you? Are they really friends? Do they respect your boundaries? Do they respect you? Your family, they just impose themselves upon you just because they're family? Do they respect you and your boundaries as a person? Do they give a shit about what you say, feel, and think? Just reflect on that. It's powerful. It's deep. It's key. Personally, are you comfortable enforcing these boundaries that you have? Right? And if you don't have boundaries, you might want to make some right here. Right? So here's the question. What are my boundaries? What is too far for me? When is enough enough? What is it that really gets to me? And where can I start to build walls around that? Where can I start to enforce these walls, these boundaries? Where can I create them? Yeah, build them right here. You can draw them. Feel free. You can have in the middle, you can have a little castle, and then around it, just 4 walls, and each wall you just write what it is. Right? Boundary might be, I will not allow people to take advantage of me. Ooh, there's a boundary. Do I feel like I'm being taken advantage of right here? I am being taken advantage of. I'm not going to do that. Hey, time out. I'm not doing this thing. Nope. A boundary might be, I will not allow my family to tell me and direct me and push me to do something I don't want to do. My family wants me to be this thing that I'm not. And I'm not going to do that anymore. Nope. Boundary. My friends, my partner might be passive aggressive towards me and make me feel like shit a lot and make her problems my problems. I'm no longer going to allow your problems to be my problems. You're going to deal with your own problems. I'm going to support you, but you're going to deal with them. Right? These are examples of boundaries. I will not allow XYZ anymore. I will not allow XYZ because this is the person that I am. I'm not going to allow this anymore. Right? And this is a practice. You're going to have to look in the mirror. You're going to have to repeat it to yourself, because in the moment when people start wanting you to be the way that you've been and you take off a mask and you're not that person anymore, there's going to be a lot of resistance for them to believe you. They're going to shit test you to see if you're actually serious about holding that boundary. Oh, no, come on, man. You're not really like that. Or, oh, come on. No. Or you really think you're going to be like that? No way. I'm doing this. We're doing this. No, we're not. Why? Because I don't want to. And if you can't respect that, this is where it ends. See, with boundaries, you have to be willing to lay it all on the line at times to let people know, really, like, do not push me one fucking inch further, because I'm done. It's over. One more inch and I'm done. If you don't do this, I will leave. Doesn't mean you have to be violent or aggressive. It's letting them know where you stand. It's channeling assertiveness and confidence into a moment and letting people know how you feel. Right? Professionally, do you have strong boundaries in place in your professional life? Do you? Do you let your boss just roll you over? Do you feel like your company is constricting you or forcing you to change who you are in order to work there? Do you feel like you, as an employer, aren't respected by your people? Do you feel like they take advantage of you? They might. Right? All these are questions worth answering. So just take a moment. Do you feel like you have strong boundaries in place in your professional life? Are you comfortable enforcing them? Why not? And if you don't know what they are, take a moment, draw your 4 walls. Start with 4. I think it's a beautiful place to start. For example, at work, I will not allow, or here it is, I will not allow myself to overwork and cover for everyone all the time just because I'm, quote, a nice person. I will not allow myself to be taken advantage of. Right? And you can, again, you're going to find is these are going to be both personal and professional, but the examples of them, right, are going to be a little bit different. So it's important to be aware of that. The context is going to change. I'm not going to allow myself to be taken advantage of. If someone says something hurtful to me, I'm not going to allow them to continue pouring salt on the wound. I'm going to stand up for myself. Whether that means leave or let them know, like, what you're saying is hurting my feelings, A, and B, you need to stop doing that, because this is really bothering me. It's not cool. I don't know who you are or why you think you can talk to me like that, but it's not okay. We're going to stop doing that, okay? We're done with that, right? With your employees, it's letting them know, hey, like, this is how we do things. And if you can't be in alignment with the integrity of the company, you don't belong here. It's really simple. If you can't do this way, this is the way we do it, you're not a good fit. As an employer, if you see people on your team who you know aren't giving 100% effort, and you know they have other visions, other dreams, other things they want to do, I'm going to let them go. Create a boundary for myself. I know there's a big conflict that's about to happen. I'm going to let this person off when they least expect it, because I just know in my heart it's the right time. They need to go do their own thing. They don't want to do this as much as they say they do. I got to enforce my own boundary here because it's hurting me. This can be sliced any way in a million ways. What are your boundaries? And you can feel your boundaries are being pushed when you start to feel all these different emotional signals, your mind, you're obsessing, you're like running over and over again a certain thing in your mind. You're feeling in your body just like different emotional energies, like kind of like stuck and stagnant. When you see certain people you want to avoid, or you want to like have a conflict, you aren't really sure which one to do. Right? All these things are signals to you that it's time to make a decision. Enforce the boundary or submit. Enforce the boundary or let it go. Enforce the boundary or... So today, more than anything, I just want you to think about this topic. Like, what are my boundaries? If I don't have any, what can I make some? Like, where can I start? You need to figure that out. Can't give you all the... You have to decide what your own boundaries are. I can't tell you what they are. But I can tell you that when you enforce them, you're going to have more respect for yourself. When you enforce them, you're going to build more self-trust. When you enforce them, you're going to feel more powerful. When you force them, you're going to feel peaceful because you're resolving things. When you enforce them, you're going to feel like a strong person. Castle walls. Boundaries are a key to success your way. Right? And this is so important. You can't expect others to respect your boundaries. It's up to you to let them know who you are and what you stand for. Right? I just want you to remember one more time. Boundaries are a key to success your way. You can't expect others to respect your boundaries. That's up to you to let them know who you are and what you stand for. And I think that's the final question today that I want you to reflect on. Who are you and what do you stand for? Right? This is actually perfect. Around those 4 walls that you drew in your journal, put a little circle in the middle. That's your castle tower. Your castle tower is this. Who am I and what do I stand for? That goes in the middle. And then build your boundaries around that. What are the boundaries that protect who I am and what I stand for? Those are your boundaries. I want you to draw it. A little circle in the middle, 4 walls in the middle. Who am I and what do I stand for? On the outside, what are the boundaries that protect that energy, that protect me, that protect my essence, my spirit, who I am, etc. That right there, that's the sauce. Incredible, beautiful, simple, visual. Bring it to life. That's on you. You bring it to life today. Because you can't expect others to respect your boundaries. They have their own thing that they're doing on the plains of confusion. They have their own race they're running, and you're just a part of it. Or not. It's up to you. You let them know by enforcing your boundaries. And you know your boundaries and what they stand for by what you want to protect, what you feel is worthy of protection within yourself. What within you belongs in the high tower. Who am I and what do I stand for? Build your boundaries around that. My friends, be good, be safe. If you like this episode, rate it, please. Be great. I'm excited for many new listeners and many cool people to listen to this. It's so powerful and so useful. And I dropped so many things today that are just so needed and necessary. And I can't emphasize this enough, right? A king, right? A legend wants respect, dude. It's how you get respect. Don't be afraid. Trust yourself. Enforce the boundaries. Seek other people out in your life who you see have strong boundaries and ask them questions. Talk to them. Befriend them. If you come in a vulnerable place to someone who is a strong and powerful person, and you come with a genuine vulnerability, they will help you because they see that. They want to help. They have cultivated themselves to help people like you. They want to give back, but they can't give back to stubborn, prideful people. They can only give back to people who are open and want to change. So if you want to make changes, seek out people who have changed. See if they will help you. Someone will. Until then, who are you? What do you stand for? What are the walls that protect that ideal, that energy, that vision? Legends find a way. It's really good. Fuck. Oh, I'm done.